Hey everyone, it's TJ, DominateDepression.com. Today I'm going to talk about L-Phenylalanine and DLPA because most people don't realize with depression there's different types of depression. That's why for one person 5-HTP might work and for another person it might not. Some people when they're depressed, they have really obsessive thoughts, they sleep too much, they have low self-esteem, all their thoughts are really dark, like I suck, I'm a horrible person. Whereas other people, they sleep too much. They don't feel anything. They feel numb. They feel flatline. Life is just gray. There's no motivation. There's no pleasure there at all. And so L-Phenylalanine and DLPA, they work on different receptors than things like 5-HTP. So if you feel more unmotivated, can't get out of bed in the morning, L-Phenylalanine or DLPA might better help you than something like 5-HTP would. Interesting thing about DLPA is it's actually both the D and the L forms of phenylalanine. Every amino acid has both a D and an L form except for glycine. However, your body just uses the L form and life basically evolved that way. And I mean, it gets complex. We can get into the right-handedness and left-handedness of nature. But essentially, all the amino acids you're taking in your body are the L forms. And so DLPA will actually affect people differently than L-Phenylalanine. L-Phenylalanine, it'll help increase your pleasure because it's also converted into PEA. That's kind of the love chemical that's often found in chocolate. L-Phenylalanine is found in proteins like fish, animal proteins, and it's converted into a few other chemicals in the brain, and then later on it's converted into tyrosine, which then goes on to produce things like dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine. DPA, the D form of phenylalanine, is rare, and when you take it, it actually helps to stop the enzymes from breaking down endorphins so that you can have more endorphins in your body. The question is, should you take L-Phenylalanine or should you take DLPA? And it all depends on who you are, what your symptoms are, and what you need. So L-Phenylalanine, it'd be great for people that are in that unmotivated, numb state where you need that energy, you need the motivation and that drive, and then also to actually feel pleasure from life because you're not going to be driven to do anything if nothing feels good. And it's also good for people that have tried L-Tyrosine and found that tyrosine made them a little too jittery or anxious because tyrosine can cause it in some people because it mostly just produces dopamine, epinephrine, giving you all that energy. DLPA can be better for people that they're emotionally sensitive. They need to increase their motivation, their energy, and their pain tolerance. So a lot of people, especially like if you're coming off of painkillers or you just find that you're randomly just crying for no reason, anything is super sensitive, like anyone just says a slight comment and it really hurts you, then DLPA can be something good to try because it's going to help boost those endorphins so that you're not so sensitive to pain. Although quite oversimplified, you can think of the D form as the painkiller of phenylalanine and the L form as the energizer of phenylalanine. So how do you take L-Phenylalanine or DLPA? So I did a whole post on how to take amino acids, especially if you're on antidepressants. I'll put a link to that as well. But you always want to buy the smallest dose possible, take the smallest amount, and then see how that affects you. Once you know that it affects you positively and there's no negative effects, then you can slowly increase the dose. So L-Phenylalanine and DLPA, you'll want to take those earlier in the morning and in the afternoon because they'll give you epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine, which if you take too late in the day, can actually make it harder to sleep. So for example, if you have L-Phenylalanine bottle, so this one's 500 milligrams. You basically take that. Now what I would do is I would even take one of these capsules. You can just open it up. So that's why I always like to get capsules instead of tablets because tablets you just have to cut them up. Well, I mean either way would work. But you just open that up, just take a small amount, put in some water, hurrying down it tastes really gross. And then that way you'll know if it works or not before you start taking a full capsule, because if you take a full capsule, it could affect you negatively, and we'd rather just avoid that. It's a lot safer just to take a small amount. So for example, you could take it right when you wake up, or you could wait 2 hours after your first meal, just take a little bit, wait 30 minutes, If all is well, pour a little more in, take some more. If everything's good, okay, you know there's no negative effects. So then in the afternoon, a few hours after a meal, you can maybe try taking a whole capsule and seeing how it affects you. You keep doing that until you find your desired dose. Amino acids are a little different than what you're used to, like medications, antidepressants. So some people will ask me, hey, what if I get tolerance or dependence to these amino acids? And then I'm just right in the same boat as I was. You know, maybe you're taking Zoloft or Cialis and had to get off it. Last thing you want to do is get hooked or dependent on some other supplement or drug. And so the good thing with these supplements is after a while you actually don't need them anymore because they help rebuild the natural stores in your brain. So for example, when I was taking L-Tryptophan, I took like a whole bottle. After it was done, I just didn't take any and I didn't need it anymore. Because once you've gotten to that point, you don't actually need it anymore. So for example, if you had a whole bottle of phenylalanine, then what you would do is you could take the whole bottle, 2-3 months, however long you feel you need it, and then once the bottle is empty, then just don't take it for a few days and see how you feel. If your mood starts to drop suddenly, then you can go get some more, do another bottle, do another round, and then once that bottle is empty, then stop taking it, see what happens, and if you get to a certain point, you've handled the root causes of your depression, you're using the amino acids to supplement and get yourself back on track, then you won't need them anymore. You won't take them for a few days and say, hey, I'm good, I don't need it. I wake up with energy, I feel pleasure, life's motivating, I don't need the L-Phenylalanine or DLPA anymore. My personal experience taking L-Phenylalanine, DLPA, and L-Tyrosine, I've taken all three of them, is L-Phenylalanine has affected me the best. And in my own personal experience, everyone that's emailed me, hundreds of people that have talked to me, been to my site, it seems like L-Phenylalanine works the best for people. A lot of books and resources say to try L-Tyrosine first, but in my experience, when I took L-Tyrosine, it made me feel really jittery, agitated, almost a little bit aggressive. And a lot of people have emailed me saying that's the same thing that happens to them. They take tyrosine, they get all jittery and anxious, and it freaks them out. So most things say to try L-Tyrosine first, but personally I would rather just take L-Phenylalanine first. That could just be a bias, but that's just what I've seen. And L-Phenylalanine, it can actually convert into other things like PEA, a few other neurotransmitters to help you boost your mood, whereas L-Tyrosine, phenylalanine is going to convert into L-Tyrosine anyways later down the chain. So it just kind of depends on what works best for you. But tyrosine, it made me feel jittery. The only time that tyrosine worked for me was when I actually sold all my stuff, bought a one-way ticket to Thailand, and I was just burnt out from all the stress of like, holy crap, I'm moving across the world to Southeast Asia and I don't know what I'm doing. And there was like 2 weeks before the trip, I was extremely messed up. I couldn't even get out of bed. I was so stressed. I was taking lots of tyrosine every day. It was helping me get through the day. And then as soon as that burnout was over, then all of a sudden I started feeling a little more agitated taking it, and I stopped taking it. DLPA, it made me feel different, but it wasn't really that great for me. So I just didn't feel, I felt a little bit off. So L-Phenylalanine was the best. I actually used L-Phenylalanine to keep going one time when I was selling solar. At the end of the month, I was really burnt out, but I had to keep going. And so one weekend, I actually just took a little bit all throughout the day in order to hit my goal. However, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because if you use amino acids to just keep pushing through when you shouldn't, then you're just going to get burnt out and you're going to be numb, unmotivated, and messed up anyways. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. So in conclusion, you have L-Phenylalanine, DLPA, L-Tyrosine. They all affect people a little bit differently. Kind of depends where you're at. However, L-Phenylalanine and DLPA is usually what works best for people. L-Phenylalanine is more if you just need that focus, you need that energy, you want to wake up in the morning, you want more pleasure in life. And DLPA might be more for people that are a little more sensitive, they need an increased pain tolerance, and maybe they don't need as much energy. So if you've tried either supplements, or if you have any questions, let me know. You can either comment or write in, and I'll talk to you guys next time.